I'm on my way to Newport, Oregon to start my trip across the country. I'll be leaving tomorrow morning from Newport and riding 3,300 and something miles all the way to Boston, Massachusetts. If you've been following along, you know that I originally planned to do this trip on my 2026 Moto Guzzi V7. Things have changed a little bit. As you can see, I'm on my Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. And if I'm being honest, I couldn't be happier. I'm not into corny sayings like everything happens for a reason. Nor am I into weird stuff like tarot cards. But both of these things are going to be kind of a theme on this trip. The tarot card I'll explain in a minute. The everything happens for a reason I'll explain right now. I originally planned to take my 2026 Moto Guzzi V7 Sport on this trip. I had some really nice bags provided by Long Ride, ready to go, and I had all of my stuff dialed in. I had done test runs and everything. I was locked in and ready to go. But recently I had a second oil consumption test on that bike, and it was worse than it was the first time I had that test done, by quite a bit. And it was concerning to me. Not because I didn't think I was going to make it, but because I really love that bike so much that I don't want to do any damage to it whatsoever. And I didn't want to risk blowing out the engine or whatever if I forget to check the oil and stuff like that. So luckily the shop let me drop the Moto Guzzi off a couple of days ago, and they're going to keep it for the month and see if they can figure out what the heck's going on, because I want to do a big trip this summer on the Guzzi, and I want to do it without having to worry about the oil and stuff like that. So it'll be nice to hopefully get that sorted out, and I'm lucky enough to have another fantastic bike to do the trip on. The problem was I wasn't quite prepared to switch gears so quickly and hop on the Himalayan and do this trip. And that's when Sabatino Moto in Portland and Royal Enfield North America came to my rescue. Both of them offered to help me out, to get me on the road and to support me along the way. And I just couldn't be more thankful. The generosity that everyone is showing towards me when I don't really deserve it, and we'll get to that in a minute as well. The generosity has just been, I don't know, unexpected and just deeply appreciated. Leading up to this decision not to take the Guzzi, I was really, really trying hard to make that specific trip happen. And I went overboard. I turned into a different person. I really wanted this so bad that, I don't know, I guess I just kind of became mean. I was not myself. I burned some bridges. I upset some people. You know, shit happens and I'm sorry. That's really all I can say. But for whatever reason, as things typically do, everything worked out, and here we are. I'm an hour away from where I'm staying tonight in Newport, Oregon. Ladybug is already there waiting for me, and she's going to see me off in the morning when I hop on this amazing bike and start my journey across America. This isn't going to be the trip that I had planned. And you know what? That's fine. I really planned on going completely minimal. I was going to do my long ride bags and really take about a quarter of the stuff that I've actually ended up taking. But since that trip wasn't going to happen the way I wanted it to, I decided to just sort of abandon that whole idea because, I don't know, it just didn't feel right, and I want to do that trip later this summer that way. You know, the minimal sort of take barely nothing and just ride the Guzzi with a small set of bags and a map and live that dream. So I asked the shop if I could just leave the bike with them for the month that I'm gone and see if they can sort it out. And hopefully they'll work with Moto Guzzi and maybe we'll come up with a solution. Something, I'm sure we'll figure something out. I'm optimistic. I'm all about being optimistic. I'm all about seeing the good in the situation and of people, and I'm gonna try to turn things around. I am on the perfect bike for this trip. I didn't know it until I got about 10 miles into today's little journey. When I strapped this massive amount of stuff onto the bike this morning, I was a little concerned. Since I had to make a pivot at the last minute, I just said, screw it. I'm just gonna take what I need. I'm gonna throw it in these bags and I'm gonna figure it out later. And luckily, both of my side panniers aren't filled. They're about half to 3/4 filled, so I got plenty more room. I didn't necessarily take everything in the kitchen sink, but I took too much, like I always do. But that's fine, because I want to push this bike to its limits. And when I got on this bike this morning and took it for a little test drive around the block after I put the bags on, I said to myself, oh boy, you made a mistake. You've taken too much stuff. Because it just felt weird, didn't feel right. Then I remembered, okay, you've done this before, just adjust your freeload. So I adjusted my preload and packed everything back on the bike, headed out, and it took 10 minutes for me to realize, wow, this bike doesn't care that all of this stuff is packed onto it. When you have the suspension adjusted correctly, it's perfect. And it's impressive because we're talking about a 450cc engine here. It's a single cylinder. It's punching way above its weight. There's no way in the world that a bike with an engine this small should be this capable. But it is, and that's what's so magic about this bike and about what Royal Enfield does. I'm thrilled to be on this bike. I really am. It's not a consolation prize at all. I was feeling pretty down about the whole thing because I really had my heart set on taking the Guzzi. But 10 minutes after I got onto this ride, I kind of knew that things happen for a reason. Now, about that tarot card. Friend of the channel, Aqua Yellow Alice, popped over my house the other night and did a tarot card reading. Yeah, I had never had one of those before, and between you and me, I hope to never have one again. But, hear me out. I pulled the Six of Swords. Now, if you know as much about tarot cards as I do, you'll have no idea what that means. But what it really means in a nutshell is that I'm going on a journey where I am going to gain some perspective. That's kind of what it means, something like that, but it has to do with gaining perspective. And so I took a picture of that card, I printed it out, I taped it to the side of my motorcycle, because I had an experience yesterday where I gained a lot of perspective. It really knocked me down a couple of notches. It made me realize how I'd been acting over the past few weeks. I don't want to get into the specifics, but I had a conversation with someone yesterday that started as an argument and turned into a couple of hugs. And I walked away from it a little changed. I felt different about myself. I felt different about my outlook on this trip. The main theme for me of this trip is gaining perspective. Understanding what's important, understanding what's not important, understanding my role in this crazy world of ours, and understanding what I can do through this channel and through my passion for motorcycles that's actually going to make some positive change in this world. I don't know what that is, but I know what it isn't. We're going to go on a journey. Hopefully you'll come along with me. And we're going to explore Route 20 across the United States. And we're going to explore gaining a little perspective in life. There'll be other stuff along the way. I'll be eating some really nasty gas station food. I'll be staying in some pretty shabby motels. I'll be dealing with rain and sleet and whatever. I may see a deer or two. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to appreciate every second of it. Anyway, that's my quick update. Tomorrow, I officially leave for my trip. Today, I'm just getting there, man. I'm just getting myself to the start. And sometimes, that's the hardest and most important thing you can do. I'll catch you on the next one.